Also, AI is getting very good at proactive service recommendations. I'll tell you from a personal experience, I've booked a cruise later this year. I'm going to be in some places in Spain that I really don't know. So I asked AI to bring up a map and show me where the port is and where the city center is. And we had a little chit chat back and forth. And then I asked it to map out a 10-hour day for me. And it did it in about 48 seconds. And it was way better than I probably ever would have gotten from a concierge. So there are real applications in the luxury space and all space on how AI is going to help us with product, with ambiance, with personalized experience. And then, of course, AI is automating a lot of routine tasks, the predictive maintenance aspect, inventory management, et cetera. So it's heading all, and then facial recognition. I mean, right now you see it happening all the time where um, it's no longer just multi-factor authentication. You can use a fingerprint. The fingerprint will open up your phone. It'll do all sorts of stuff. I don't even carry a credit card anymore. I use my phone for everything. So all of these kinds of things are rolling together, rapidly evolving and changing the experience for the customer and for the employee and how we interact with each other. But I think in the luxury space, as I said in my first response, it's just critical that FaceTime, that meeting you, looking at people and showing them your eyes and teeth. Ojos y dientes is what we like to say. Show them you're a real person with a smile and a cheerful outlook, and that's just going to go a long way towards enhancing their experience.
Absolutely. It's very exciting and just talking about balancing tech with that human touch. And luxury hospitality always being about personalized service. So how do you balance AI decision making with human touch that defines your brand?
I think at the end of the day, I actually don't like that expression. I think in the final analysis, it's always going to be about exceeding guests' expectations, one guest at a time, through authentic and memorable experiences. I think if we as hoteliers kind of keep that core, that's my personal core mission statement, imbued through the organization from the top to the bottom, from the bottom to the top, whatever. Um, and that we see that as the beginning and the middle and the end of our brand proposition, exceeding guest expectations, one guest at a time through authentic and memorable experiences. Then we can break that apart. Exceeding expectations. Well, how do you set those expectations? I think you set them through your website, through your interactions in the reservation process, through customer relationship management, through rates and inventory control. I think you have the ability to help form those thoughts through emotional intelligence, authentic connections, problem solving, and creativity. And all of these things can be enhanced by the tools that are given to us. And that includes computer tools or artificial intelligence. And at some point down the road, we'll get to super artificial intelligence. That's a whole other subject. So it's using the tools that we have from technology, and but never losing the concept that this is a people business and it's about one-on-one interactions. Ultimately, when those
Yeah.
customers they come back, and that's what we want them to do.
And what are the key data points that you think are the most critical for revenue leaders in the next 3 to 5 years?
That is an interesting one. I'm going to tell you that I actually ran this question itself, which you gave me in advance through AI, and it gave me, oh my goodness, a huge novel. And I read it, but I think it's I'm not going to pick it apart because I didn't like some of the answers. But I think embracing advanced technology is just critical. I think some folks are resistant to change. I often say to my team that there's a bus coming down the street and you will make contact with that bus. You're either going to get on it or it's going to hit you in the face. And that bus is called change. It's called progress. And so I think, first of all, is just embracing that change is coming, that we're going to embrace advanced technologies. In that vein, it's important to understand that AI is not just computer to man or to woman. It's also machine to machine. These computers are talking to each other. And so understanding how the algorithm that works behind it and what's driving the responses that it gets is going to form how you build up your website and how you tag it electronically so that the various bots that are out there can pick up from it. It's very, very important. I think integrating the tech ecosystem, which is, your revenue management systems, your property management system, CRS, et cetera, so that it's all sort of working together and not adjunct from each other in disparate systems. They need to work together. We hear a lot about personalization and a guest experience, and that's very, very true. Loyalty programs, I'm not going to go there. I wanted to talk a lot about that. That's for the Marriotts of the world to figure out. But I think customizing guest experiences through the website, through add-ons, through enhancements, through chatbots, for the ability to somebody to pick up the. And I think in the luxury space, it's just super critical that there still be the ability for somebody to call and speak to a human, and that phone gets answered, and they're able to help them. I talked a little bit about diversifying revenue streams, so that's important. And then, of course, what we haven't talked about is workforce management and talent acquisition, addressing labor shortages. AI is going to change things. I mean, the day is going to come down the road where there may be one desk agent instead of four because the other three have checked in. Everybody else has checked in online, booked their room. I mean, if you go back 40 years ago and you told people that you were going to pick your own airline seat, book your own reservation, choose your own meal, and you were going to do it on a device held in your hand, and then use a scan bar to get on they'd have thought you nuts. We had, carbon copy tickets, and they would put a little sticker as to what seat you were going to sit on. So we're at the infancy right now, in my opinion, with regard to AI. I think this is rather like a dial-up modem when the internet first came out. I mean, do you remember? You've got mail. That's all changed, and I think that's kind of where we're at. We're at like 1995 with the internet, so it's going to change significantly over the years. And I think I'll just end with where I started. It's about change and understanding, embracing change, and not to be afraid of change, but to experiment. And I would just say to anybody who's listening, if you're not using voice search, start with that. Use that microphone button on your Google search bar, or whatever search bar you're using. Ask long questions that you feel are just silly. You might even be nervous when you ask a question. Just remember, you're only talking to a microphone. There's nobody really on the other end. And you'll be shocked at the answers that you get. And you're able to delve into long questions. One of the best questions I've asked over the last 6 months, I've asked it repeatedly, and the answer gets refined. What is at the edge of the universe? Start there. That's like a big question, right? You'll get an answer, and you can say, elaborate, delve deeper, give me more. Just allow yourself to get immersed into the whole space of AI from a personal point of view, and this will open your eyes as to what the tools are for the future. I don't know what I don't know. I know that we're at the beginning of this process, not at the end. That we are really just crawling on our knees, not yet walking, certainly not running, and definitely not doing a sprint. This is a marathon, and we all have to get off our knees and start to walk. So it's about embracing change. And I would just again suggest everybody start with the microphone button on your Google search bar and see what you get.
That's amazing advice for people, for hoteliers wanting to know how to integrate AI and up their revenue management practices. So thank you, George. It's been great speaking with you.
Likewise.
And we're going to jump on the bus.
All right. Thank you so much. Have a great day, everybody.
Saul Cole, thanks for joining us today. It's good to have you.
Thank you.
Your journey from the NFL to wellness and luxury hospitality is really inspiring. Can you share your story and tell us what motivated you to shift from professional sports to becoming a resilient speaker and wellness architect for top hotels?
Yes, certainly. My journey in the NFL was rather long for a career. NFL stands for not for long, and I was blessed to have a 4-year career, which is slightly above the average. My career came to an end due to season-ending injuries, right? Had neck surgery and had hip surgery back to back, and that propelled me to my wellness journey to explore on a deeper level, not just physical, but to really look at the whole self, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And I discovered ancient practices, mindfulness, yoga, breath work, sound healing to help me navigate, my anxiety, my depression, and the uncertainties of life. And then once I've, got a chance to experience that firsthand for myself during some critical times, I was able to realize the transformative potential for high performing teams and not just athletes. And the luxury hospitality space resonated with me because it's more about curating experiences that touch the whole person. And, so that I'm able to help teams cultivate, like you said, their resilience, the presence, and the focus and the flow so that they can serve their guests authentically to not just personally, but professionally as well.
And you're known for the soul call effect, blending the NFL discipline with mindfulness. How do you bring practices like breathwork, sound healing, and flowetry to luxury hotel teams?
My approach really with the soul code effect is rooted in meeting you exactly where you are. Everybody has different experiences with mindfulness, and some are skeptical, and that's natural, right? So for me to create uh, an environment that feels welcoming, that feels supportive, that they can show up as their authentic self, and that starts with me as a facilitator, letting them hear my story, letting them hear uh, my experiences, and letting my guard down and being vulnerable, being transparent in a way that they can then open up and see the benefits for themselves, and taking small steps, right? Something that they can actually walk away with that's practical, that's tangible, that they can get real time feedback has been my approach, and that has been something that has worked in the past.
And so you've worked with leading brands like Miraval. Can you tell us about a program or collaboration that's had an effect on and had some impact on the staff and guest experience?
Yeah, so Miraval had brought me in to facilitate their Authentic Circle Appreciation Week for their members and for their staff. And so I was able to co-facilitate programming for the members and for the staff. And really, the staff, they truly appreciated an opportunity to be included, right? To feel seen, to be able to literally let their guard down. I had one of the head security members join in on the meeting, and he got a chance to just really, not have to look over his shoulder, not have to check, the walkie-talkie, and just be present and just be still, and surrender to that moment. And he, spoke to me afterwards and said, I really don't get a chance to do that. I really don't get a chance to engage in that. And I could just see his spirit was lifted, his smile on his face for the rest of the time. And then with the members, the external facing program, just being again transparent with them, letting them hear my story, which they don't really get a chance to hear. You know, people that played, professional football to come in and talk to them, and share it in a way that it still resonates with them and their experiences today. They reported back that they felt they didn't know that they needed to hear this. They thought they came for something else, whether it was to get a massage, but they really, was able to take away what I shared with them, and take that back to their communities, to their families.
And it's so important to take that time out for yourself and just check in and see what's happening inside. So hotel leaders face burnout and their teams. What practical advice would you give hoteliers to build more resilient, high-performing staff and teams? And why is wellness a true competitive advantage, not just an amenity?
It's a great question. I think burnout is an industry silent revenue killer. And it's something that, like I said, it's not often talked about, but internally you experience it, right? From top to the bottom. And my advice is simple, really be intentional about investing in your human capital, right? The operating system, your team. And that means creating an environment, a culture where it's embodied, right? Whether it's before you start your meetings, taking a mindful moment, 60 seconds to just arrive, whether it's a virtual meeting or it's an in-person meeting, and just take it. So that way you just not just jumping right into the to-do list, jumping right into, the agenda. And I understand we have to get things done, but we also have to arrive and transition. Everybody's coming from different things, whether it's, stuff at home, stuff, traffic, travel. A lot of these things can add to the stress. But if you just take some time to just arrive, whether it's 60 seconds, so you can just feel seen, feel heard, and understood all the way, and and introducing, team connection rituals that, make everybody feel, make the collective feel seen. I think that's the most important thing. And to your point, wellness isn't just an amenity, having it be a competitive advantage to your resilient team. I think about my time, in the NFL, right? There's a lot of guys that are physically talented, but what separates the good from the great is in between the ears, right? With their ability to be able to block out the noise, to stay focused, and to handle their assignment, uh, is what makes that difference, and that's all internal. That's all about investing into your well-being, your energy, your focus. And so essentially, wellness becomes the engine that powers the excellence across the hotel.
Well, thank you, Sol Cole. I appreciate you sharing your journey and your insights, and you've got some valuable information there. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I'd like to welcome Keith Space, President, Fort Hospitality, who oversees a remarkable portfolio of luxury Four Seasons hotels and independent assets valued at nearly $3 billion. Welcome, Keith. And we're going to talk about celebrity partnerships and brand influence. So if you can tell us, why are celebrity partnerships an effective tool for enhancing luxury hospitality brands?
Well, I think the first aspect would be that they add an additional differentiator between your property and another luxury property within your market. They add an additional nuance to the guest experience by their approach, both to their own business, but also to the industry at large. And it gives you just one more arrow in your quiver, so to speak, as to enhance the guest experience once they are on property.
Great. And can you walk us through a recent collaboration and its impact on guest perception and engagement?
Well, I think the most recent example would be the partnership we did with Chef Ryan Ratino and his team up in Fort Lauderdale at our Fort Lauderdale Four Seasons. His restaurant up there, Mas by Ryan Ratino, recently garnered a Michelin star for their counter, and it elevated not just the experience at the hotel, but it really helped to create Fort Lauderdale's culinary scene as one to be taken seriously. Ryan is an American chef with now 5 Michelin stars to his credit. So it deepens the guest perception of the hotel, of Mas itself as the individual restaurant experience, but also the market, where we hope other great chefs would come in.
And how do you balance authenticity with brand alignment in these high-profile partnerships?
Well, I think the first thing is authenticity boils down to the partner that you choose. In the case of our properties, all of our celebrity chefs are culinarians first, and they are very true to the culinary experience. They're incredibly focused on the quality of the food, the quality of the experience, the consistency. And so your selection of partner really sort of almost dictates how authentic a project you'll have. And so if you're working with first-class professionals, I think the authenticity becomes just a natural byproduct of that.
Great, and we're looking forward to hearing more at the ILHA conference at the end of the year. So thank you for taking the time. Appreciate it.
Yes, you're very welcome. Thank you again, and I look forward to seeing you in December.
I'm joined by Kenneth Ryan, Chief Longevity Officer at the estate, where he's redefining luxury hospitality through the lens of longevity science. He'll be speaking at the International Luxury Hotel Association's conference in Las Vegas in December on longevity and the economy around it. So Kenneth, to start, how do you define the longevity economy, and why is it gaining so much traction in the luxury hospitality space?
So the estate is redefining the luxury of longevity. We are the leading hospitality brand, merging science and longevity environments and luxury environments that deliver vitality, optimization, and human performance. So luxury is no longer defined, I think, by opulence, but the ability to live longer and live better. So the longevity economy, I think, is really about extending health span, giving people more years of energy, clarity, and performance at the highest level.
That's fascinating. So now when it comes to guest experience, how are longevity-minded travelers changing the way luxury hotels and resorts are designed and what they offer?
So we believe at the estate that longevity is a mindset, right? Rooted in vitality, intentionality, and empowered living. We believe that it goes beyond amenities and design, but we provide a full ecosystem, enabling people to live with purpose, optimize their full potential, and embrace a lifestyle where health is the highest form of wealth.
Yeah, and health is so important. So how is the estate integrating longevity science into the guest journey, and what differentiates your approach from the traditional wellness offerings?
So the estate is a purpose-built model that blends science, technology, preventative, and precision medicine into every part of the guest journey. Everything within the estate is through the lens of longevity.
And it's clear that innovation is at the core of your work, and that often means technology. So can you share with us, what role technology plays in creating longevity-focused experiences, both during the guest stay and after they leave?
So the estate uses cutting-edge longevity science, right? And it's tracked and supported by AI-driven technology that ensures that our guest data and preferences travel with them, securely stored but easily accessed and used to personalize every future guest visit based on their specific and evolving health profiles.
That's incredible. Well, we can't wait to hear more about it at the ILHA conference at the end of the year, because it's very clear that longevity is becoming quite a driving force in luxury hospitality. And so, yeah, thank you. We're looking forward to hearing more about it.
Thank you, Sharon. And we're excited to be a part of the event as well. Thanks so much.
I'm delighted to sit down with Felicity Black-Roberts, Senior Vice President of Development for Europe, Africa, and the Middle East for Hyatt, to talk about how design is shaping the future of luxury hotels. Design has become a powerful lever in defining guest experience, brand identity, and long-term value, from the rise of wellness-centric spaces to the importance of location-driven concepts. And Felicity is going to share her insights on how Hyatt is approaching design with resilience, innovation, and purpose across its diverse portfolio. Felicity, great to speak with you today. Thank you for joining us. To start off, luxury hotel design has really changed a lot in recent years. In your view, what does design resilience mean?
I think the phrase design resilience has a number of different facets to it. But overall, it's around avoiding design trends and creating a hotel that is resilient to and can cope with change over time. Because when we invest in a hotel, particularly at the luxury level, that's a significant investment. And even when I look back at hotels that I've been involved in, some of the best ones are ones where 20 years later, you think, gosh, that was a great bathroom refit, because actually it now doesn't need a huge intervention to bring it back up to a great standard. So I think it's around design that can cope with change, whether that's new climate laws, whether that might be shifting guest habits, whether that's just design trend changes, without it actually needing a full rebuild or a full refurbishment. And part of what a brand like Hyatt has been bringing to the forefront is how, through customer insights and research that we make with our customers, how we can influence satisfaction in design through really understanding what our customer wants. So, for instance, hard floors are inextricably linked in the minds of our customers with cleanliness. Putting hard floors into guest bedrooms actually builds resilience compared to using carpet. So there's some really powerful things that the brands can do through flexing a guest preference around building resilience into the designs that we put forward for hotels today.
That's so interesting. And how do you strike the right balance between pushing creative design boundaries and ensuring strong ROI and long-term value?
Obviously, we always have an eye to long-term ROI, and indeed most of the investors that we are working with in Europe, Africa, Middle East today are also very focused on how they are going to have their return on investment. By having these disciplines around design resilience, actually you're building in a better return for the owner, because you're not creating a situation where you're going to have to keep reinventing the hotel. So really, by making spaces more flexible, for instance, adapting furniture so it's movable, creating different lighting scenarios for whether you want to use a space for a coffee corner maybe in the morning, or you want to reinvent that space at another time of the week for a cocktail party for a mice group, for example, is really in building flexibility into the hotels, so that the owners do get the return on investment that they're expecting. And really, we talk about growing with intent at Hyatt, and that's what we're doing. We're leveraging high impact target locations in the luxury space. And really, from a strategic perspective, we've diversified into lifestyle and leisure product, particularly in that luxury segmentation where we know that our guest is wanting to travel at the moment.
Felicity, we're seeing a real shift towards lifestyle, luxury, and wellness-led hotel concepts. What type of guest expectations are influencing your design choices today?
Yeah, I mean, you're totally on the button there. We really have seen a lot of demand in the luxury lifestyle and wellness segment. And I think it's being very much driven by a more conscious, a very connected and actually design literate guests. And when we talk to the guests, they say, I want to feel like the space is made for me, and not just for an Instagram moment. I want a space where I feel that I can be and work on the things that I want to work on, and to belong somewhere a little bit more meaningful, even if it is just for one night. So I think one of the things that we've been doing at Hyatt is really making sure that as far as we can, we integrate technology into the guest journey. So for example, smart wristbands we've been using to unlock rooms or order food, maybe remember guest preferences, for example, but also making sure that human element in their stay remains. Because again, when you talk to people about what made a great hotel stay, and preferably somebody outside of the hotel industry, they will generally refer to something that one of the team at the hotel has done which made them really happy or joyful. So we want to make sure we keep that human element very much part of the service level within this segment at Hyatt. There are really some nice examples of the other ways we can integrate tech into the rooms. We're looking at how we look at circadian lighting, for example, to help our guests sleep better, all the way through to the ridiculous pieces of, is the hairdryer plug near a mirror, and can I dry my hair correctly? So it's about making sure all of the small things fall into place, and really working with local artists and chefs that keeps that hotel unique. And it also boosts the visits and the spend from the local guest as well as the travelers. So I think that's really important, of bringing those two groups of people together. And that also has a nod back to some of the questions we've been talking about making sure we get a good return on investment.
Great. And Hyatt's been expanding across both major cities and leisure destinations. How does location shape your design priorities and investment approach?
Location is incredibly important, obviously. It really drives our initial thoughts around the facilities that we want to offer the guests, both from a design perspective and from the level of investment that we would expect an owner to make in creating those facilities. Example, the size of a spa, how much meeting space we need, do we need a children's club, teenagers club, how many restaurants, are we going to have a rooftop bar? So each location has its own guest needs and expectations that will inform the design, the type of guest. Are they primarily business, or is this going to be a leisure hotel? What's going to be the typical occupancy? Is it single, double, families? How does that impact the size of rooms? And of course, then length of stay, and even little things like climate. What's the size of the wardrobe that we need within the hotel in order that the guests can comfortably accommodate the things that they've brought with them? So there's an awful lot of thought from sort of the macro end of what are we going to design from a high level in terms of the facilities, all the way through to size of wardrobe and what does the bedroom look and feel like to really cater to that specific guest that we're expecting within that location.
And looking ahead, what's the one design principle or emerging trend you think will really define the future of luxury hotels?
I think what we're going to be seeing from high net worth individuals moving forward is a move away from this luxury not having to mean lots of marble. I think luxury is going to take on a very different character. I think that's already starting to happen, and we're already starting to see it. I think then it's not just about offering them high-end spaces, but actually that those spaces become a lot more immersive. They actually see the hotel space as being the destination where they can go to work on themselves, maybe work on their health, on their relaxation, just places that maybe heal, inspire, connect, and design being the thread that pulls those things definitely together. I think luxury in a hotel, we really want to look about how we're saving energy in construction and in operation. We know that's important to the guest, how it fits within the local life, and really how that we can really just create a facility or a destination that works both for locals and travelers alike.
Felicity, thank you for sharing your insights. It's clear that sustainability, wellness, and thoughtful design will continue to play a central role in shaping the future of luxury hospitality. We're excited to hear more at the IHA conference in Prague in November, where you're speaking on a panel discussing luxury hotel design, resilience, value, and strategic growth in the European hotel market. It's been a pleasure having you with us, and we look forward to seeing how Hyatt continues to innovate and inspire through design. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
A huge thank you to our speakers for sharing such valuable perspectives on the future of luxury hospitality. We're grateful to our sponsors whose leadership is shaping the future of our industry. If you found today's conversation inspiring, be sure to follow the International Luxury Hotel Association for more events, expert insights, and networking opportunities. So thank you for joining us, and we look forward to welcoming you at our next event. Until then, stay inspired.
Meet the hotel industry's biggest leaders at Inspire Luxury Hospitality Conference. Back for its 16th year, Inspire 2025 is held in November in Prague and December in Las Vegas. It's the premier event for luxury hospitality. Land deals, learn strategy, and explore innovation. Visit us at inspire.ilha.org.